All right, everyone, welcome to the Analog Adventure Christmas Edition. Quick forward on this. I've recorded this two-part series on how we can help our children enjoy life and have fun at the pace of real life. And then in post-production, my fantastic wife, Anna, was like, you know what? You basically just made this for like a really specific niche of boys. And that's so true. It was entirely unintentional. I absolutely did that. And so to help make this better, I'm going to keep the two episodes because I think they give you a good snapshot of basically what it was like to shop for my 11-year-old and 9-year-old. That's basically what I did unintentionally. And then for the upper elementary and middle school age boys that I work with a lot. But I also have a daughter, and there's lots of girls and cool adventures for girls. Lots of girls who want awesome gifts for Christmas and lots of cool adventures to get for them. So we made an extra resource for that. In the show notes, there'll be a PDF that can give you some ideas. There's a girls list, a boys list, and then just like a board game dedicated idea list. So feel free to jump into those as well. I just wanted to preface it with like, in retrospect, yeah, I definitely just made this in talking specifically about boys and analog adventures for that like upper elementary, middle school age. That was a huge blind spot. And I believe that these episodes are still very good representations of how we can think through buying good gifts, intentionally purchase gifts that support good adventures, and make that a focus of ours heading into Christmas this year. So with that, let's get this conversation started.
Purposely. Your life, God's purpose. Listen at purposely.com.
All right, everyone, we have Christmas coming up here in just a few weeks, and this is not to make you panic or, spiral it all about what hasn't been done, but instead to equip you because it's Analog Adventure Christmas time, folks. I try to do one of these every season we head into the Christmas season to really think through what are we going to be buying our kids? What does intentional gift giving look like? Because most of your kids are going to ask for some kind of an electronic. The idea behind this conversation is I want to equip you with some great ideas for gifts that do not feel like penalties when your children get them. It is possible to have an analog adventure. This idea of learning to have fun at the pace of real life, we can help our kids do it, but it can be overwhelming, especially as adults when some of this was just like, well, we did it as kids, but like, what do kids do now? I'm going to answer some of that for you. Some of it is so niche that it's really hard to get into and it feels intimidating because you might judge other people who participate in these ways. And I'm telling you, if it's good for your kids, it's worth getting into, even if it makes our pride die a little bit. And some of this is expensive, especially if you don't know where to look, but just on its face, like I'm going to tell you right now, it's cheaper to download a video game on your phone than it is to buy any kind of meaningful analog adventure, up front at least. We can take the later cost of counseling into account and it probably evens out. But really what we're talking about here is how can we give our kids amazing real world adventures that build their ability to experience risk, responsibility, and relationships, and then add to that free play. Risk, responsibility, and free play are what Jonathan Haidt in his book, The Anxious Generation, and in any number of talks in the 2 years since that book has come out, it says is how we build resilient youth. It isn't keeping them safe enough so we have safe adults, but to have healthy adults, we need kids who experience a reasonable amount of risk, which leads them to the ability to handle responsibility and then to exercise free play without parents or coaches running every single moment of it. And that's what this Analog Adventure Christmas is about, building up young people of character, young people who are amazed at God's good creation, who love to use their minds and their bodies in ways God's designed them for, and to just experience the fun of life, because learning and work was intended to be fun. Adam worked in the Garden of Eden. Think about this. He was there to keep and work the garden. There was work to do, but it was a creative, amazing work, not toil, not drudgery, not the kind that breaks down your body and your mind, but instead builds you up. And I am personally convinced that's a part of what heaven's going to be. It's going to be worship through work. Yes, we're going to be praising and worshiping and singing praise to the Lord. And part of that is going to be worshiping him. Wow, that word was hard for me. Through the glorious work and the wondrous work that he has given us to do, that we will continue to see his kingdom come and his will be done, but now forever through perfect bodies, not through broken down ones. So that is our setup to this. 5 areas we're going to talk about. I'm actually starting on board games today because I'm going to cruise right through it because I talk about board games so much because I love them so much and I want you to as well. But I don't want this to be just a board game podcast. Then we'll talk about art and then we'll talk about competitive fun. I had combat fun in there, but I think that can hit wrong if you don't know me or that's just like written somewhere. So competitive. We'll talk more. Books and then some STEM ideas for science, technology, engineering, math. It could have been STEAM, but I already put art in there for another one. So let's rock and roll. All right, board games. If you only gave me like 3 minutes to tell you why you need to play board games, it's this. Board games are like food. You need to be willing to try new things. Variety is your friend. We need to leave time to let it digest, and they're enjoyed best with people. The reason I love board games as either a supplement for video games, which in my family, that's what it is. My kids have played video games, but we do not have them as a regular part of our 24-hour ecosystem. There's no time set in a week where like that's your video game time. So we play them, especially at parties or hanging out with certain individuals who enjoy games, and it's a part of that relationship, sure. But it's not part of what we do. We supplement with board games, and oh my goodness, it is not the cheaper option. I'm not here to tell you like, if you just buy enough board games, you'll save money. No, you won't. Even talking about an expensive system like a $300 Nintendo Switch, it's going to be cheaper because board games are expensive. The reason they're expensive is because they're amazing. There are really smart people putting together beautiful, like fun to look at, fun to play experiences. And what I said there, like it's going to be always a process in trying something new. No two games are identical. And so you're always reading a rule book and like learning the process. And it is humbling because it will make you feel dumb. You're like, people do this for fun? Why is this so much work? Part of it is because it's new. Part of it is because it's new. And so by that, I mean, part of it is you may not be used to having fun at this pace. And part of it is the game is new. And that's part of the fun is realizing 2 weeks in you played it wrong. Like that's just part and parcel with it, unless you have an experienced person in the game. So with this in mind, we're playing games. It's hard to overplay a board game. It's very hard to overplay a board game without people around. Like they're just relationships and healthy choices are baked right into 90% of games. This is not 100%. You might know someone who's played an analog game in an unhealthy way, just like you might know someone who reads books in an unhealthy way. It can be done. That typically comes down to where our hearts are. We're not going into that today. What we're talking about is when picking a great board game. I'm going to post online a list. You can go find it through the show notes. But ANTIC isn't what would you call it? Acronym that I made for picking a great game. And ANTIC means this. You're looking at the ages of your players. You're looking at the number of players you want, the time, the interest of that particular group, and whether you want it to be cooperative or competitive. So in my family, we're ages 6 to 12. So that's our age range that we're looking for kids. Numbers, 2 to 4 players. Interests, animals, Pokemon, army stuff. And then generally we want them to be cooperative, not competitive, just because it's more fun and there's not always someone losing. Like remember Monopoly growing up, how it's always a zero-sum game and there's only one winner? They've come around that to where like you can win against the deck or you can win against the greater goal of the game together. And it doesn't have to be like you physically beat down your opponents and take their stuff. So with our ANTIC, then we would go and look up games and find out where that is. If you want a one-stop shop for great game suggestions, Amazon is great, or you can go boardgamegeek.com and they rank. You just basically type in a category of games you want and you can find it. I will be linking to these again. I'm just going to name one game per age category. I haven't broken them down by like littles. So we're talking, if you want 3 to 5 year olds, we have really enjoyed Richard Scarry's Busy Town, Seek and Find, where you basically go through, you're getting your little Richard Scarry. That's like the worm in the apple car, the little pig. So you get your way through this map. And then you're basically, you can move further when you do the seek and find. You find little items like find ladders, find airplanes, find balloons. Really fun, very easy to do with little kids, but it teaches taking turns and that some people can finish first. Like these are things our kids need to have practice. We love that one. For family games, we have enjoyed Throw Burrito. It's kind of like the game Spoons where you're laying down silly cards and then once a certain combination comes, you grab a burrito and you throw it at someone. and they're out. Well, they're not out. You win that point. It's like a little burrito duel. I will say we have had tears during this game, so just be aware. With older kids, we've really enjoyed Codenames as like a party game where you have two teams and you're trying to get your team members to guess only the words for your team with just a single one-word hint. It's harder than it sounds because you can try to get them to guess multiple cards, but then you get greedy and they might guess the one card that makes your team insta-lose. So again, there might be tears, but that's part of the process. The goal here is not to never have our children have emotions. It's to help them learn how to manage them well. So we have little games, we have family games, upper elementary and middle school. The one that I found is like a great entry level, and I'm going to use great with caution, it's called Dice Throne. It's basically Yahtzee, but it's combat Yahtzee. So you're trying to get these 5 dice combos, but now you're fighting each other. And then the Marvel version of Dice Throne is where you can be like Thor or Spider-Man or any of these characters. And I say it with caution because I've had one family that this like changed. They had super gamer kids and they're like, they would walk away from video games to play this. And again, that's a 10 out of 10. You should do that because you can't get overstimulated doing this. You have to read the rules and wait for people and like strongly recommend. You don't need an app or anything to play it. I would then caution with, remember, it's a board game. So I know I'm saying this is amazing, but it will require you to read some rules and it will require you to probably watch a YouTube video together. I have suggestion videos on where to watch that, but we just like the How to Play series on YouTube. And he does a great job and often brings his son in, and it's very reasonable. Like time, it's not going to be 90-minute playthrough videos, but also includes all the details. So you can get like the nuance, see someone else play it. And for me, that helps. Rather than just like reading page after page of rules and then all the if-thens, you feel much more like a lawyer than someone trying to play a game. But I say that because Dice Throne is great. There's lots of options, and it's one of those you can just play with only 2 sets, or you can expand that if you want or care, and it can play with more people. So we like that for our upper elementaries, and we are entering a world of more intense gamification. Meaning in our family, we play games now that you have to build the pieces and then play them against each other. Star Wars Legion is the one we've just recently gotten into, and it has been a boon for our family. I have 2 children that like just putting them together and then painting them and like learning about the rules. It's a lot of rules. I've had to read the rule book a couple times. So like, what do we get out of this? Get into board games. Whether your kids are gamers or not, there are board games for you. Check out the list that I'm putting together because it's by age. I do it in 2-year age kind of brackets. You can grab any one of these games and every one of them is a winner. If it looks right for your ANTIC, that acronym for is it going to fit your player group and their age and their play style. But other than that, like, get into board games. Have a couple laying around. Sometimes my kids just open them and like to set them up. Sometimes they open them, set them up, and then mash up with Lego characters and make up their own games and stories. That's phenomenal. These are things we can't do in video games very well because even if it's a sandbox game, it's generally driving us towards some end. There's some kind of quest or goal or experiment or thing we're doing, and the infiniteness of that sandbox can be overwhelming. There's a great amount of finitude to a board game. There's only so much you can do. Imagination kicks in, and then we get creative play, and that's a bonus. So I'm a huge fan of board games. Go check them out. Parents, as we strive to raise kids who love God and use tech, it's intimidating to look at this next stage of life and think about what academics may look like for them. When you're thinking about college, consider George Fox University for your children because of 3 things. First, it's going to give you a more intimate, known environment where they have a focus on being known personally, academically, and spiritually. Your child will grow in their faith. 93% of undergrad students at George Fox last year, through the 2025 academic year, said that being at George Fox has helped them grow in their relationship with Jesus. We also want them to grow academically, which means being a part of a university with rigorous academic standards and opportunities to be engaged. They have a nationally recognized engineering, nursing, and education programs, as well as chances to study abroad here within the U.S. and then internationally. And finally, personally, to be part of a vibrant campus atmosphere where you can play intramural sports or part of their NCAA Division III athletic programs with 23 sports available. The goal here is to go to a place that's going to support your goals, not try to make you support theirs. To have that goal be to raise you up to be all God's called you to be, and to truly equip your young person with in my case, my sons or my daughter, to love God, and then from their love of God to go wherever God has called them. And that includes being equipped with a degree that'll help them do that, to be missionally equipped, to love and serve others, to lead where God has planted them, and to know the gospel for themselves, to be able to share it with others. So George Fox University is an amazing resource for our kids, for our community here in the Northwest, and for anyone who's looking to raise up a young person who can love God and from that, love others. All right, second is art, exclamation point. Young artists and old artists, there's lots of options here. I strongly recommend you to just get your children into trying to use their hands in a creative way. We're talking specifically drawing and painting in this. Yes, the arts. Get them into a local theater club. We have the Main Stage Theater here, and they do an amazing job. They throw a pair of theater camps. They do a couple of kids' plays throughout the year. It's a ton of work, but like amazing people. We know families who have done it. We've looked at it, and we've chosen other priorities. We think a couple of our kids would love that, especially one of them who is a highly dynamic person. But right now it's been sports and school and friends, and like those have taken higher priority. But in this art, we mean drawing. Like Art for Kids Hub is awesome, and it's free. You can use their website or you can use YouTube. We'll lock a computer into guided access, screen time, use their website so they can't go to any other website, and then say, hey, you've got 30 minutes. You guys can do a pair. And it's usually Henry and Hadley who love drawing and coloring together. They each have their own art supplies because we had that stuff. But again, great stocking stuffers. Art supplies. I'll link to some markers that we use, $30 for 70 markers. They're alcohol markers, so they're permanent. Keep that in mind. But nice chisel tip, nice soft tip, like gives you good ability to like mesh your colors well enough and like make a high quality looking product that they enjoy a lot, but you're not out all of your monies when, someone gets aggressive and smashes the tip in. Like it's easy to, at 50 cents a marker, we can justify buying these kinds of art supplies for our kids, or Crayola, or whatever you want to do. And then I will include under art, it is painting miniatures is an art form. We use Vallejo paints in our family, and you buy one set, it's going to last you a long time. So those are not the cheapest, but I'll send you a link so you can check that out. The point is not be a perfect painter. The point is get in, have fun. That's what they'll say in Art for Kids Hub, is to practice and to have fun. And from our perspective in talking about gospel-connected art is that we are using our bodies and using our minds and using our creative outlets and abilities for the Lord. Like whatever we're painting, we're doing it for the glory of the Lord, which I would say, especially when coming to board games, is part of why we mitigate some content. Because like, can I glorify the Lord when I'm doing this murder, death, kill here? Maybe not. Maybe I need to pick a different form of fun, think through that. But for art, those are some we've done. Those are the ones I'll link to. There are a lot of great how-to draws. You can just get them from your library or purchase them. In fact, Art for Kids Hub has 2 different how-to draws. We purchased one of them this last year, and it's been a great experience. Or you can simply get some of those like color in the image. Like if your kid needs something to do when they're just sitting and waiting, our kids will bring at practice or at events where they are not going to be active participants. They'll sit in the audience with some colored pencils and color in what am I trying to say here? It's a coloring book, and they're usually themed. So like we got a Middle Earth one or a pony one or whatever. Do that. All right. 3, competitive fun, because risk is important. So in talking about building healthy youth, they need risk to build resilience. They need to understand where their upper threshold is. It helps them feel less anxious because they know what real danger feels like. So climbing that tree or jumping that fence or doing some of these things where like you could get hurt, that's true. We want to stop them from too much risk, right? Don't go run across the freeway. That's risky, but that's an unhealthy amount of risk. A small mistake has massive outsized consequences. We're not looking for that. If you ride a skateboard or ride a bike or wear your helmet, be in an appropriate area at an appropriate time of day. So don't ride your skateboard down the steepest hill in the area at 7 p.m. But within reason, we can do this. Wear a helmet, wear protection that's going to, elbows, knees, and then do it at an appropriate time in an appropriate spot. With that in mind, competitive fun, we're going to go with 3. One we call Battle Club, then your classic Nerf, and then I'm going to make a hard pitch for airsoft. Here it goes. So I said this is competitive fun. Battle Club is basically tag with swords. None of these three options are inexpensive. So just know that going in. Analog Adventures are not inexpensive. This is just a suggestion. None of them are like buying new ski equipment and, a ski pass for the season. We did the math to take our family. It's $1,000 for us to go skiing once. So it's cheaper than that. Just to set context as we're looking at Christmas and wintertime. But Battle Club, tag with swords. This is a Sutherland family favorite. We started as a joke for my brother-in-law's bachelor party like 17 years ago. And we're like, oh, that actually was fun. So then we started doing it with Young Life. And we were running these 60, 70, 80. We had a 100-person event one time. I even brought it in for a field day. Someone locally was like renting equipment. So we brought them in and we did 100-person events as part of the field day. We would just run half the group. So then half the kids are running their stations. And for 30 minutes, half the kids would play tag with swords. And the school was like, we're not sure this is a great idea, but like, we'll be okay with it if you run it. And afterwards, I heard from multiple teachers. They're like, that was the best for our kids that typically can't participate because they're just behaviorally off the walls. Like, you give them a sword that's meant for tagging people, and you give them structure. There are rules you have to follow if you want to participate, right? But it's still tag. Like, at the end of the day, you either run away or you tag somebody, and that's it. And maybe you have a spear or a shield or a sword, but like, at the end of the day, it's tag. And it is a hoot. I'm going to include 3 options for buying it. It is not inexpensive. Forged foam is the one we've used. I have used equipment from them that is 15, 20 years old, and it doesn't wear down. It just lasts forever. So I would tell you it's worth the investment, but we're talking, what would you be? A sword is like $50. Now, you'll never have to replace it. You just take the cover off and wash it if it gets super dirty because it's raining. It doesn't delaminate because it got wet. Sure, it might mold. Dry it afterwards. Don't just throw it in a bag. But like, we've had ours for, I would say 6-7 years, and it's green lights. We know another family that owns a good number of them, and they're great. So Forged foam, the reason we love this, in fact, we just did this for Owen's birthday again for like the 6th annual birthday, is because everyone has to get involved. It involves physical movement. It can be accommodating a large range of physical abilities. So we have 5 and 6-year-olds that play with 13, 14, 15-year-olds with adults. And the adults do not always win because you get 3 12-year-olds on you. There's no way you're going to stop them all. You get 5 6-year-olds. There's no way you're going to stop them all. You just can't run far enough, fast enough. Like, they'll be everywhere. In fact, this year we added something we called goblin rules because we ran out of equipment. Too many kids showed up. And we had a rule where if a little kid jumped on you and counted to 5 and did not get tagged, then that counted as you being out. So great. Now, that's a level of physicality some people are uncomfortable with. I get it, but just know, like, it allows for a high level of physical interaction, exercise, outdoor play across ages and abilities. You don't have to be fast because you don't have to run. Grab a shield and a sword, grab a buddy. Like, if you're not fast, just travel in groups of 3 or 4. Like, that's a lot safer. So I love this. I've seen it work across all sorts of ages and group sizes, down to groups of 5 to 10, up to groups of 100. And I just love it. So strongly recommend Battle Club. Nerf battles have been good for us. And this is where, like, I understand some families are super uncomfortable with this. People I love and respect a lot in my own personal life are like, no, we're not comfortable with any kind of replica gun. I respect that. What I would say with this is that if you are into Nerf battle from nostalgia or just from the idea of like, we want something that's safe to do indoors because it rains a lot and our kids need to be competitive, then strongly recommend Nerf or its competitor X-Shot. I'll include some links below, but the idea is for $10, you can get into this. You can get in for 30, you can get 2. Actually, for 15, you can get 2 on Amazon. That's an X-Shot thing. X-Shot's basically just a knockoff Nerf that's managed to surpass some of Nerf's quality and product design to the point where now Nerf is copying X-Shot. I know that's really in the weeds. You probably didn't care, but I care because my kids care. And therefore, I'm always looking for like, what would they enjoy? What would be fun? What's reasonable? I like to stay away from the battery powered stuff just because it's Nerf and a spring does fine. So I included like 5 options from $10 range up to the 35-ish range. Buy one that you think is interesting. Buy one for the family. Wear eye protection if you want. We don't. But you absolutely can. There's goggles you can buy for that, or just simple like workout workwear. You can buy bundles for $3-4 a piece that you would use for like weed whacking. Just use that. Good idea to protect your retinas always. But we like Nerf. Yes, it does kind of go towards that Fortnite, but that's also the perk of it. When you're asking a child to like, hey, don't play competitive violent video games, give them something competitive in real life that they can then participate in. And Nerf is a simple way to do that. There's also these Orbeez, which are like those water beads your kids used to play with, but now they can be fired out of a Nerf style weapon. Those are battery powered. Don't use them inside, but outside they break apart, they disintegrate. It's good fun. So Orbeez, Nerf, awesome options. That's going to do it for today. I know I'm only partway through the competitive play part, but I want to respect your time and give you some time to marinate on this. And then we'll come back next week and we're going to talk about the rest of the competitive piece. Spoiler alert, we will talk about airsoft for better or worse. And then we will walk through our other forms of analog adventures. If you have any questions for me, you really want the rest of that list, just send me an email, nathan@gospeltech.net, or you can send me a direct message on Instagram and Facebook at LoveGodUseTech. I would be happy to just send you the whole list up front. We'll post the whole list under the show notes. Like, I'm not trying to hide this from you, but it did feel like continuing this today, we're going to go a full 40 plus. So I wanted to be able to break it down, make it digestible. Thank you for loving your kids well and for wanting to get them toys that are going to help create fun and help them be creative. The idea here is not to simply avoid tech, but to use the best tech well, to get our kids gifts for Christmas that are good gifts, that bring out good fruit, that create in them a sense of joy and awe and wonder, and that draw them into relationship, allow appropriate amount of risk, and help them build personal responsibility so we have resilient, healthy adults, not just sick kids. Again, if you have any questions, email me, reach out over Instagram and Facebook, and then join us next week as we continue this conversation about how we can love God and use tech, and also give our kids awesome gifts. I'll see you then.